Today I'm going to walk you through the process of making art stones. To make my stones, I'm using gypsum Ultracal 30. Some people use plaster of Paris as well. It's a cheaper option. The Ultracal 30 is a lot stronger product, so that's why I choose to use that, but it is more expensive and it's really hard to get in certain areas. The ratio of powder versus water is going to depend on whatever product that you're using. Now for the Gypsum Ultra Crowd 30, that's what's recommended by the Happy Dotting Company, which is the company I buy my molds from. And she tells you in the description of the item how much gypsum you need to make this product. Now I alter this a little bit. I added just a little bit more powder and a little less water. I did drop test with both methods, and by adding a little bit more powder and a little less water, I found that it made them stronger. So I have kind of altered that a little bit, but I will put down what is recommended down in the comments by the Happy Dotting Company, and then I'll put down what I actually do. I don't know if humidity was playing an issue with it because I was making the stones in Alabama during the middle of the summer. So I don't know why my stones didn't seem to be as strong as other people's stones. But I found making this slight adjustment corrected my problem, and I didn't have any issues with them after that. So once you get it all weighed out, I just put it in a container, and then I have to go and do the water. Now, for the water, I just do it the same way and just make sure that whatever cup you put on the scale, that you zero the scale out, and then just measure out exactly how much water you need. Also, make sure that you use a different cup than the cup that you had the powder in, or else it will start making the compound inside your cup and could ruin it. So that's why I'm always using like plastic cups when I'm using the powder, in case that water does come in contact. I'm not going to get it all on that cup. Once you have the water, just pour it in and just do this very slowly, because if you dump it all at once, then a big cloud of powder will come up into your face, and we don't want that. So I just pour it in slowly, and I just kind of let it do its thing for a little bit. And then I will mix it up using my hands. And the reason I use my hand, I do put it on a glove, but the reason I use my hand is because I like to be able to feel how thick it is, to see, because if it feels really thick, then sometimes I might add just a little bit more water, because I am using less water than is what was recommended. So I just kind of can tell with my hands. Plus, I can break down any clumps and feel for any clumps to make sure that I have a nice, smooth consistency at the end. And this is towards the end, and I start picking it up, just kind of looking for little clumps that are hiding. And if I find any, I just kind of smash them between my fingers. Using my hands to mix also decreases the amount of bubbles. To pour it in, I always try to pour it pretty slowly. This part ended up getting a little messy because I've never used these ovals before, so it kind of filled up a lot faster than I thought it was going to. But in the end, everything worked out. But just go nice and slow. Don't do it real fast. I found going slow, you end up getting less bubbles. I've tried spooning it in, different things like that, but it took up a lot more time, and I didn't see any difference with my stones. So I just like to pour it just very slowly. And then afterwards, I am going to start tapping the sides. And what that does is it takes any bubbles that's at the bottom of the mold, which is going to be the top of the stone that you're painting. It makes them come up to the top of the mold, which will be the bottom of the stone. And I do this because since I do dot art, I want the top of the stone to be as smooth as possible. I don't want any air bubbles and holes on the top of the stone. So I just give them a good tap. And something I've learned to do is I just take a little paper towel and just kind of dab it on the back, and that will get rid of all those little air bubbles that you just tapped up to the surface. So that way I don't have to sand when I take them out of the molds, or I won't have to sand as much. Before, I would just leave it, and then I spent a lot of time sanding, and doing the little paper towel trick has saved me a ton of time. but I end up tapping them several times just to make sure I got them good. So these have been sitting in the molds almost 2 hours, and I decided to go ahead and take them out. They are not fully dry yet, but they're hard to the touch, and they came out really well. I didn't get any air bubbles on these. They came out nice and smooth, or there's no areas that I really need to address. I don't even need to sand these very much, if at all. So I'm really happy with how they turned out. Now these aren't fully dry, so I always put my stones upside down to dry because it's less surface touching another surface, so it allows more air to get to both sides. And for the hearts, I usually just prop them up on something so that they're kind of on their sides. I'm going to do another video on stone prep to show you what to do if you do get any holes. If you have any questions, just ask and please subscribe.